Chapter 220. What was going on? Even Pei Yutong and Pei Nanxiu, who sensed that something was amiss, instinctively turned to look at the door. Soon after, they saw a figure with an imposing aura slowly walking in from the darkness. The man was wearing a retro-ascetic suit, but at this moment, his tidy tie had been loosely pulled off his neck, and 3 buttons on his shirt had been undone. His originally black and tidy hair was a little messy. Big boss, brother Yu, big brother, everyone, including Pei Nanxiu and Pei Yutong, realized that something was wrong with Pei Yucheng's behavior. Everyone looked at each other in dismay. For a moment, no one dared to move, much less approach. In the end, Pei Nanxiu stepped forward and approached Pei Yucheng cautiously. Pei Nanxiu knew that Pei Yucheng didn't drink, so he walked to the bar counter and poured him a glass of lemon water. He tried his best to speak in a relaxed tone. "Big brother, why are you here?" Pei Yucheng didn't speak. Instead, he scanned Pei Nanxiu's face with his dark eyes. Then, he casually took the glass of lemon water from Pei Nanxiu. However, the moment Pei Yucheng took the glass, it exploded in his hand and the shards fell to the ground. It was as though he had lost control of his strength. Pei Nanxiu was shocked, and his fingers were scratched by the shards. At the same time, the moment the cup exploded, the pressure in the entire double-decker private room suddenly reached a terrifying level. Everyone instantly shrank into a corner in unison. Qin Huan's nonchalant expression changed abruptly. He looked as though he was facing a formidable enemy. "Oh no! Boss doesn't look right. F***ck. Xiaofan, I told you not to jinx it." Xing Chen, who was flustered, threw away the lollipop in his mouth and whispered, "What happened to brother Yu? Wasn't he in a good mood earlier? The numbers have been stable. Why? Why does it seem like he has reached a critical point?" Xing Chen had just spoken when the silver watch on Pei Yucheng's wrist began to emit a frantic alarm. Beep. 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 The beep was like a death warrant. "What's that sound? Whose alarm went off?" Pei Yutong stammered, startled by Big Brother's sudden appearance. Qin Huan glanced at him speechlessly. "What alarm clock?" "Third young master, that's a life detector. Brother Yu's vital signs are soaring. He's about to break through the limit. It's been 2 years. You've been fine. You even survived that dangerous period. How did this happen?" Pei Nanxiu ignored the wound on his hand and looked anxious. Xing Chen picked up a pillow and hugged it tightly. He scowled miserably. "I told you that brother Yu is scarier when he's quiet. You guys didn't believe me and even said that I had a crow's mouth. His body wasn't really stabilized, but he was forcibly suppressing it. After suppressing it for more than 2 years, he finally couldn't suppress it anymore." Qin Huan was anxious. "That's not right." Chapter 221. Pei Yucheng, who seemed to have been disturbed by their whispers, glanced at them. They fell silent instantly, not even daring to breathe loudly. "Get Cheng Mo to come and see me." Pei Yucheng then headed to the 2nd floor. The alarm on the watch hadn't stopped, and it was getting more and more urgent. Qin Huan hurriedly contacted Cheng Mo. Jilan, on the other hand, looked anxious as she glared at them. "Why are you guys still standing there? Call the doctor." Qin Huan shrugged helplessly. "You've been by brother Yu's side for so many years. Is this the first time you've encountered such a situation? There are so many top experts, doctors, and professors. We've invested so much money in them over the years, but they haven't come up with any effective solutions. Even God wouldn't be able to help, let alone a doctor." Jilan gritted her teeth and said, "Then bring that woman here." Qin Huan shrank back in fear. Who would dare to do that without brother Yu's order? Xing Chen took out another lollipop nervously and said, I think so too. It's best not to call her here now. My instincts tell me that there's a problem with the stabilizer. Pei Nanxiu seemed to have thought of something as he muttered, last night, I asked Lin Yan to call Big Brother and asked him to meet her tonight. I'm guessing that Big Brother went to meet Lin Yan tonight. Xing Chen blurted out immediately, Brother, you went to meet Lin Yan tonight? I bet a lollipop that there's a problem with the stabilizer. We can't just do nothing. Regardless of whether there's a solution or not, we have to get all the experts here first. I'll inform Father. Pei Nanxiu replied. Ji Lan's face darkened. All right. I've already made the call and contacted the experts in China. At Maple River Residence, after Lin Yan returned to her apartment, she hadn't been in a good state of mind. She had a splitting headache, and it felt as though her head was being pierced by needles. She lay on the bed and slept until the next night. Suddenly, someone knocked on the door. Wang Jingyang stood at the door and was about to speak when he saw her. Why do you look so pale? Did you get surrounded by haters again? Lin Yan was speechless. 100 million haters couldn't compare to Pei Yucheng's destructive power. Come in. Why are you looking for me? Lin Yan rubbed her forehead. Can't I look for you for no reason? You've been going out early and coming back late these days. I haven't seen you many times since I moved here. Wang Jingyang's tone was a little sad. Lin Yan rolled her eyes at him. I need to earn money. I don't have time to fool around with you. Wang Jingyang muttered, since you're working so hard by yourself, why don't you find a boyfriend? Lin Yan was speechless. She had found it. Not only did he look for her, but he also broke up with her after looking for her. Although, it seemed that the breakup did not succeed. Actually, He Muyun didn't care about the demolition of the house or the ownership dispute. She was worried about Lin Yan's grandfather. Mom, I got it. How is Uncle Xia doing? Lin Yan glanced at He Muyun solemnly. Things aren't looking good. If we can't fill the gap, the company might go bankrupt, replied He Muyun. Announcing the new book's VIP reader group, 7718373335, I have you for the rest of my life, sweet and warm, screenshot of 6,000 plus fans on QQ, screenshot of all the subscriptions, screenshot of at least 20 recommendation votes within 30 days if you can't meet the requirements for fan points, recommendation votes, and so on. You can wait until the requirements are met before you enter, it's late today. If the management hasn't replied, they must be resting. We will continue tomorrow. Chapter 223. Everything had happened this morning. Based on what Pei Yucheng had said last night, it was impossible for Lin Yan not to know what was going on. No wonder Pei Yucheng had been so confident that she would agree to it. She had thought that Pei Yucheng had said those things out of anger because he had broken up with her. She had never imagined that he would go to such lengths. Not only had he interfered in her affairs, but he had also attacked the people around her to make her submit. A strong sense of disgust and repulsion rose in Lin Yan's heart. Fear had been etched into her soul since a long time ago. Xiaoyan. Xiaoyan. Are you alright? I didn't want to tell you because I didn't want you to worry. He Muyun looked worried. Lin Yan snapped back to her senses and smiled at her mother. Mom, I'm fine. Oh yeah, I have some work to do, so I have to go. Alright. Go do what you need to do. Don't worry about the family. Okay, Mom. Lin Yan's face turned cold the moment she stepped out of the house. Her temper had been ignited instantly. Pei Yucheng. She had never imagined that Pei Yucheng would be such a person. He had been such a good and flawless person. Not only did she feel fear and disgust, but she also felt disappointment. She felt as though she had been looking up to the bright moon, but her true self was a muddy swamp. What had happened earlier? Had he been putting on an act all along? Lin Yan called Pei Yucheng as soon as she reached the ground floor. The other end of the line picked up the moment she pressed the button. Before she could speak, a man's deep voice was heard. "Se bar." His voice wasn't as gentle and clear as usual. It was as though he had fallen into an abyss of ice. The man gave an address and hung up the phone. Lin Yan stared at her phone. Pei Yucheng's attitude made her even angrier. This is totally a threat to her. Lin Yan inhaled deeply and suppressed her anger. She hailed a cab and headed to the address Pei Yucheng had given her. The nightclub was located in a remote alley. The door was rusted, and the sign read, "Seabed." Those who didn't know better would think that it was an abandoned warehouse. However, when she pushed the door open, she saw a whole new world inside. It was probably because it wasn't time to open yet, so there weren't many people in the bar. Lin Yan spotted a familiar young man in a suit waiting for her. She had seen this man at Pei Yucheng's villa. He seemed to be Pei Yucheng's assistant. Cheng Mo greeted Lin Yan politely. "Miss Lin, this way please." Lin Yan's expression was cold and infuriated as she followed him. Damn it. After the incident with Han Yishuan, she had sworn to focus on making money and not to get involved in those affairs anymore. She did not expect that in such a short time, she would be played by a beauty to this extent again. This time, she was even angrier than Han Yishuan. Ji Lan's icy aura engulfed the entire area as her right hand reached for Lin Yan's neck like a sharp claw. Chapter 226. "You can try," Lin Yan replied coldly. "Ha! Everyone around you has been implicated because of you. Even so, you don't care?" Ji Lan sneered at her. "You." Lin Yan was enraged. "It seems like you haven't figured out your place yet." Ji Lan vanished instantly. She was so fast that Lin Yan could only see a shadow with her naked eye. Ji Lan's current speed was even faster than before. Before Lin Yan could snap out of her daze, Ji Lan grabbed her neck. Ji Lan's grip on Lin Yan's neck was so strong that Lin Yan couldn't breathe. "Don't force me." Lin Yan felt dizzy and her consciousness was fading. "Force you?" Ji Lan glared at Lin Yan as the corners of her mouth curled up into a merciless smile. "Are you worthy?" Lin Yan hated this feeling. It was unfamiliar and distant. It had been a long time since she had lost control. Why did she have to provoke her? At that moment, the iciness in Lin Yan's eyes seemed to have been lifted. It started to crack and shatter. In the dim bar, no one noticed the change in Lin Yan's expression. Lin Yan's eyes were devoid of emotion as she grabbed Ji Lan's arm with her right hand. A second later, there was a loud thud. Ji Lan's arm was flung away and she stumbled backward. Astonishment surfaced in Ji Lan's eyes. At this moment, her arm was in intense pain and gradually becoming numb. "Qin Huan, what are you doing?" Suddenly, Ji Lan glanced at Qin Huan. Qin Huan was dumbfounded. "What did I do? Didn't you attack me with a hidden weapon just now?" Ji Lan's voice contained a trace of anger. Qin Huan replied, "Are you crazy? I didn't even move." "It wasn't you?" Ji Lan frowned slightly. Then, her gaze landed on Xing Chen. The lights in the bar were dim, so Ji Lan hadn't noticed that Lin Yan had sent her flying. She had assumed that Qin Huan or Xing Chen had attacked her with a hidden weapon. Xing Chen was munching on his lollipop as he met Ji Lan's eyes. "Don't look at me. I didn't do anything." Before Ji Lan could respond, Qin Huan pointed at Lin Yan. Lin Yan, who was out of control, was exuding a terrifying aura as she strode toward Ji Lan. Her aura made Qin Huan feel uneasy. Why do I feel like this woman has suddenly become so scary? Am I hallucinating? Qin Huan mumbled as he played with the dice in his hand. Is the pain in your body not intense enough? Ji Lan's eyes glinted coldly when she noticed Lin Yan's expression. Ji Lan clenched her fists and punched Lin Yan, who was striding toward her. This punch was extremely powerful. Following the trajectory of the fist, one could even hear the whistling of the fist wind. Are you crazy? Qin Huan shouted when he saw this. Lin Yan moved even faster. Before Ji Lan could react, she had grabbed her by the throat. Lin Yan's back was facing the light, so no one could see what she had done. Even Ji Lan had no idea what had happened. Lin Yan stared at Ji Lan coldly. If she wanted to, she could crush this woman's neck in an instant. Chapter 227. At that moment, Xing Chen, who had been munching on his lollipop, suddenly moved. Bang! With a loud bang, Ji Lan's body was sent flying by Xing Chen's kick. Xing Chen, who had curly white hair, had both hands in his pockets as he glanced coldly at Ji Lan. Do you want to continue? Little Xing is angry. Qin Huan, who was standing nearby, slammed the sieve on the table. Xing Chen, what are you doing? Ji Lan glared at Xing Chen as she bellowed. I'm trying to save you, replied Xing Chen coldly. The bystanders didn't see it, but Xing Chen saw it clearly. If he hadn't kicked Ji Lan away, Ji Lan's neck would have been crushed by this woman. Ji Lan didn't even realize it. How laughable. Even Pei Yutong realized that Lin Yan, who had always looked soft, sweet, and timid, had changed completely. Save me? Do you really think that boss likes her? She is just a stabilizer. Ji Lan sneered coldly. Ji Lan didn't understand what Xing Chen meant. She merely thought that boss wouldn't let her off if she hurt that woman. Idiot. Xing Chen shrugged. Whatever you want. Continue. With that, Xing Chen sat back down in the distance. Soon, Ji Lan stood up and charged at Lin Yan. Lin Yan glanced at Ji Lan, trying her best not to lose control. If she did, Lin Yan had always known that she was stronger than ordinary people, but she had rarely used it. She hadn't been willing to use it, especially when she lost control of her emotions. She could be more terrifying and extreme than she had imagined. The murderous aura on Ji Lan's face intensified as she muttered, now that she has lost her effect as a stabilizer, there is no point in keeping her. She will only make boss lose control. She has no right to stay by boss's side. She isn't worthy. Ji Lan didn't notice that as she spoke, a person slowly walked down the stairs from the darkness behind her. Brother Yu. Qin Huan, who was standing opposite her, saw Pei Yucheng right away. Ji Lan's face was filled with fear when she heard Qin Huan. Instinctively, she turned around. The moment she turned around, Pei Yucheng suddenly moved. He placed his palm gently on Ji Lan's left shoulder. In the next second, everyone saw Ji Lan's body fly out like a kite and slam into a glass wine cabinet. The glass wine cabinet collapsed with a loud crash. The cabinet and the wine inside all shattered into pieces. The scene was a mess. Even the handrail of the stairs was knocked down by the huge impact. After the loud shattering sound, the entire private room fell into a dead silence. Everyone kept quiet out of fear as they looked at the man on the stairs. The private room, which was already in a mess, was now even more messy. It was almost like a ruin. Pei Yutong pulled a long face. He was going to start tearing down the house again. What should I do? Originally, she thought that when eldest sister-in-law came over, she could coax big brother. She didn't expect eldest sister-in-law to be so hot-tempered. Now that the two of them were facing each other, wouldn't it be like Mars colliding with Earth? Ji Lan landed awkwardly on the ground. She ignored the pain and scrambled to her feet. She knelt respectfully before Pei Yucheng. Brother Yu. Chapter 228. Pei Yucheng didn't even glance at Ji Lan. His eyes had been fixed on Lin Yan ever since he had stepped out of the room. Lin Yan clenched her fists when she saw Pei Yucheng. The man was wearing a white shirt, and his hair was slightly messy. His gold-rimmed glasses glinted coldly. He didn't look as gentle as he usually did. His eyes were like bottomless black holes, as though he had become a different person. No, perhaps this was the real Pei Yucheng. The moment Pei Yucheng appeared, no one in the room dared to speak. Everyone retreated, not daring to breathe loudly. Pei Yucheng strode down the stairs and adjusted his sleeves nonchalantly. Then, he raised his head and gazed at the furious girl. "Have you made up your mind?" Lin Yan frowned when she heard Pei Yucheng. Then, she slammed her hands on the table next to Pei Yucheng. Pei Yutong was more nervous than anyone else when he saw Lin Yan's temper. What was going on? Wasn't she supposed to be a tranquilizer? Big Brother's table was about to be smashed to pieces. As far as Pei Yutong could remember, no one had ever dared to speak to Big Brother like that. Something was going to happen. Something big was going to happen. Pei Yucheng sat on the couch, his aura cold and sinister. Even Qin Huan and Xing Chen instinctively sensed danger. Cold sweat appeared on their foreheads, and they looked at each other in dismay. Lin Yan glared at Pei Yucheng. "Cut the crap. I have something to ask you." "Go ahead," the man replied. Lin Yan narrowed her eyes. "My mother's house, Uncle Xie's company, and my grandfather. Did you do all of these?" Pei Yucheng didn't deny it. Instead, he nodded and replied, "Yes." Lin Yan clenched her fists and sneered coldly. "So this is what you meant when you said that I would agree? You will agree." The man sounded very certain. His eyes met Lin Yan's dangerous-looking eyes. Lin Yan inhaled deeply and suppressed her anger. She tried to communicate with Pei Yucheng. "What do I have to do for you to let my family go?" "You know what to do." Pei Yucheng gazed at her expressionlessly. If Lin Yan hadn't been so agitated, she might have realized that something was wrong with the man. Lin Yan sneered coldly when she heard that. She recalled what the girl in black had said earlier. She had said that she would listen to his every command. "What should I do? Obediently be your canary, or a slave? Will they obey your orders?" Lin Yan glared at the man before her, her tone icy. "I'm really sorry. Mr. Pei, you probably don't know me well enough. I'm just a stinky rock that won't budge. I hate being threatened. At most, I will perish together." The moment the girl finished speaking, Pei Yucheng's eyes, which had been as still and mechanical as still water, started to ripple. At the same time, the silver watch on the man's wrist began to beep, F***CK. "We're done for." Qin Huan's expression changed when he heard the alarm. The others were also panicking. Chapter 229. Pei Nanxiu looked anxious. There's no progress in Country M's research. Besides, if Big Brother doesn't cooperate, the experts won't be able to help. Pei Nanxiu paused before he added, "Actually, Big Brother has gone overboard. If it had been another woman, she might have compromised. However, judging from Lin Yan's character, she would rather die than live in dishonor. I'm afraid that threatening her will only make things worse." Qin Huan had a look of lingering fear on his face. "You're absolutely right. Why do you think no one dared to restrict Lin Yan, even though she was so important? They didn't dare. That girl is too stubborn. Even Brother Yu is stubborn. Even though she has lost her memory, she hasn't changed at all. She's still as hot-tempered as ever. The worst thing is that boss is out of control. He has no idea what he's doing. He's only relying on his instincts to stop Lin Yan. I don't think there's a way out this time. We're doomed. We're doomed." Ji Lan glared at Lin Yen coldly as she listened to the alarm. Her face darkened. I told you that she is a ticking time bomb. Brother, you will be killed by her sooner or later, Qin Huan coughed softly. You can't say that. If it hadn't been for her, boss would have died many times. However, now, it's better for her to stay away from boss. Pei Yutong clutched his head anxiously. F***CK. Didn't you say that Sister Yen is Big Brother's stabilizer? Why has she become a bomb now? If Sister Yan's stabilizer doesn't work, what will happen to Big Brother? Qin Huan scratched his head. I think the most important thing now is to separate the two of them. Don't let her continue to agitate boss. Indiscriminate destruction. Pei Yucheng muttered under his breath as he shut his eyes. It was as though he was recalling something that had pained him to the core. His mouth was filled with the taste of blood. The moment Lin Yen finished speaking, Pei Yucheng's watch beeped loudly at an alarming rate. Lin Yen finally realized that his watch had been ringing for some reason. However, Lin Yen didn't pay much attention to him. She was already infuriated, and she felt as though she had lost control of her body. Her rage had gotten the better of her. Pei Yucheng, forgive me for being blunt. Even if you have billions of assets and a high status, so what? You're selfish, cold-blooded, heartless, and don't know how to respect others. You won't love anyone. I, Lin Yen, will never fall in love with you, even if I had to fall in love with a cat or dog. In my dictionary, there's no such thing as yielding. Beep beep beep, beep beep beep, beep beep beep, as the alarm grew louder and louder, Pei Yucheng suddenly clutched his chest. All the blood drained from his face. Brother, you. Boss, Qin Huan, Pei Yutong, and the others' expressions changed instantly. Pei Yucheng sprang to his feet and grabbed Lin Yan's arm with a trembling hand. Lin Yan's eyes glinted coldly. However, before she could do anything, Pei Yucheng's body began to sway and he looked as though he was about to collapse. You. Lin Yen stared at Pei Yucheng curiously. A second later, Pei Yucheng suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. His body seemed to have reached its limit. Chapter 232. Lin Yan's eyes lit up when Pei Yucheng agreed. She grabbed his hand, afraid that he would go back on his word. It's a deal then. Almost as soon as the girl's small hand touched the back of the man's hand, the silver watch on the man's wrist that had been intermittently making beeping sounds stopped completely. Lin Yen stared at the watch on Pei Yucheng's wrist suspiciously and muttered, "This Vacheron Constantine watch is so high-end. Why does it have an alarm function?" Pei Yucheng was speechless, everyone was speechless. Pei Yutong muttered excitedly, "He's indeed my father. Even his thoughts are the same. Father and son are connected." When Pei Yucheng's watch stopped beeping, Cheng Imo, who had been silent all this while, strode over. Cheng Imo turned to Lin Yen and said, "Miss Lin, you've misunderstood something. I think I have to explain it to you. What you said just now about your mother, uncle, and grandfather was not Boss Pei's doing." Lin Yen was startled when she heard this. What? But he had admitted it himself. Cheng Imo nodded and replied confidently, "All orders from President Pei go through me. I have never received any orders from him." Last night, President Pei had indeed called him over. However, he hadn't given any orders. He stood at the side and watched Boss Pei smoke for the entire night. Hence, it couldn't have been President Pei's doing. He had wanted to explain earlier, but he hadn't been able to get a word in edgewise. President Pei had even admitted it, so he couldn't say a word. Now that both of them had calmed down, Cheng Imo finally found a chance to explain himself. After explaining, Cheng Imo glanced at Ji Lan, who was still kneeling in the corner. The girl's face was covered in cold sweat, but she looked furious. She gritted her teeth and said, I did it. Brother, you didn't know about it. Lin Yen frowned when she heard this. No wonder this girl had threatened her. She had made a decision on her own. She had been so furious that she had instinctively assumed that Pei Yucheng had given the order. Qin Huan and the others stared at Ji Lan in shock. Ji Lan. Are you crazy? How dare you do such a thing? Qin Huan exclaimed in disbelief. He hadn't expected Ji Lan to be so bold. He had really thought that Brother Yu had done it. He didn't suspect Brother Yu at all, as his style was similar to Brother Yu's. Who would have thought that Ji Lan would make the decision on her own this time? Ji Lan straightened her back, but her expression showed that she didn't think she was wrong. Xing Chen shook his head and showed a pitiful expression. Lin Yen glanced at the girl coldly before turning to Pei Yucheng. Her expression was complicated. If you didn't do it, why did you admit it? Pei Yucheng remained silent. Pei Yucheng remained expressionless. He didn't push all the blame to Ji Lan either. Instead, he replied calmly, "There's no difference. This is what I wanted to do." He didn't deny it because this was the darkest thought in the depths of his heart. Moreover, she also believed so. Lin Yen was speechless as she listened to him. She couldn't tell how she felt. How could there be no difference? Even if Pei Yucheng had such thoughts, he hadn't done so in the end. No one knew better than her how difficult it was to control yourself when you lost control. Chapter 233. Actually, the only thing Pei Yucheng had insisted on was that she join Summit Entertainment. Lin Yen couldn't help but recall what Pei Yucheng had said to her in the car when Pei Nanxiu had gone to pick her up. At the time, she had asked Pei Yucheng if he would mind if she had a bad reputation and was criticized by the internet for being a bad actress. "I do mind. Do you need me to deal with them?" This had been Pei Yucheng's reply. He had minded the people who had bullied and insulted her. Pei Yucheng hadn't denied it. Had he thought about doing that, or had he thought that she wouldn't believe him? That was why he hadn't explained himself. Although the truth was a dark, dirty swamp, there was a glimmer of light in its depths. Pei Yucheng coughed violently again. Lin Yen glanced at Pei Yucheng's subordinates and bellowed, "Hey! He's vomiting blood. Why are you guys still standing there? Call the doctor." Everyone was dumbfounded by the roar. "Didn't you want to kill boss just now? I heard that you were seriously ill and in a coma. Is that true?" Lin Yen muttered to herself. Pei Yutong immediately chimed in, "Big sister-in-law, you don't have to worry about that. As long as you stay by my brother's side and don't quarrel with him, he will definitely be healthy." "What the hell?" Lin Yen rolled her eyes at Pei Yutong. "Am I a Lingji elixir?" Qin Huan, Xing Chen, Cheng Mo, and the others glared at Lin Yen, as though they were saying, "Aren't you a Lingji elixir?" "I'm asking you something serious." Lin Yen snapped angrily. "I'm answering you seriously." Pei Yutong muttered softly. As long as Big Brother didn't lose control, there wouldn't be a problem. Lin Yen felt that these people were too unreliable. She let go of Pei Yucheng's hand and searched for her phone. She wanted to call a cab to take Pei Yucheng to the hospital. However, the moment she let go of Pei Yucheng's hand, the silver watch on his wrist began to beep again. Everyone was speechless. Pei Yutong stared at the watch and said anxiously, "Look. I told you that you can't break up with me." "Ha!" Lin Yen instinctively grabbed Pei Yucheng's hand again. The watch's beeping slowed down, but it didn't stop. At that moment, Lin Yen realized that everyone, including Pei Yutong, looked extremely nervous when they heard Pei Yucheng's watch beep. The watch had started beeping violently when Pei Yucheng had vomited blood earlier. Could it be some sort of medical device that you might use to monitor your body was related to Yu's condition? Instinctively, Lin Yen suspected that Pei Yucheng and this watch had something to do with her. But she couldn't figure it out. How could it have anything to do with her? Isn't this a watch? Is this a body scanner? Lin Yen probed. Lin Yen listened anxiously to her watch, which was still ringing. So this is really a body detector? Every time it rings, it means that you're not feeling well. Didn't it stop ringing just now? Chapter 234. The few people at the side silently looked at the two people who were clearly arguing with each other a moment ago, and now they were showing off their affection. Pei Yutong was elated. That's great. My prayers were answered. Wasn't this just a bedtime quarrel? Lin Yan's eyes widened as her eyelashes fluttered. She only snapped back to her senses when Pei Yucheng stood up. She stared at Pei Yucheng in a daze for a long time before she glanced at his watch. Everything was quiet, it had stopped ringing. What kind of magical watch was this? Could it be that she really was some kind of miraculous medicine? At that moment, Cheng Imo received a call. He walked over and reported to Pei Yucheng. President Pei, Professor Wilson and his team have arrived. They are at Cloud Manor now. Should we ask them to give you a diagnosis? Before Pei Yucheng could reply, Lin Yen asked, is the doctor here? Hurry up and let him take a look at Mr. Pei. Cheng Imo glanced at Pei Yucheng hesitantly. Pei Yucheng had always hated doctors. Unless he had lost consciousness, he wouldn't have allowed them to approach him. Pei Yucheng said, get the car ready. Everyone heaved a sigh of relief when they heard him. All right, they had reconciled. The world was finally at peace. They wouldn't have to live in fear and bloodshed anymore. Long live peace. Long live the dog food. Ji Lan was the only one who remained kneeling on the ground, her expression dark and gloomy. At Cloud Manor, Pei Yucheng had all sorts of equipment connected to his body, and he was doing a detailed physical examination. Lin Yen couldn't be disturbed during the examination, so she waited in the garden outside the house. Suddenly, her phone rang. It was her mother. Lin Yen hastily answered her mother's call. Hello, Mom. What's wrong? What's the matter? He Muyun's cheerful voice could be heard from the other end of the phone. It's fine. I'm just calling to tell you that you don't have to worry about the matters at home. I just received news that everything has been resolved. Lin Yen was taken aback. Everything has been resolved? That was fast. Yeah, it's strange. The developer suddenly announced that there has been a change of plans. Your uncle Xia also called to say that everything has been resolved. He Muyun replied. What about grandfather? Asked Lin Yen. He Muyun replied, I'm at your grandfather's place now. I'm not too sure about the exact situation, but Lefeng said that the competition can proceed as usual. That's good. Lin Yen heaved a sigh of relief and told her mother, I have something to do. I'll look for you at grandfather's place later. Okay. Yen, don't rush. Drive safe, okay? Okay, Mom, I know. Lin Yen ended the call with her mother and hung up. The moment she hung up, she turned around and saw Pei Nanchu standing a few steps away from her. Mr. Pei. Lin Yen muttered to herself. Miss Lin, thank you so much for today. Chapter 235. Pei Nanchu glanced at the girl and asked hesitantly, Miss Lin, may I ask you a question? Lin Yen asked, what is it? Why did you break up with my brother? Did my brother do something wrong to make you unhappy? Pei Nanchu was puzzled. The two of them had been in a good relationship. He couldn't understand why they had suddenly broken up last night. How could that be possible? Before this, Pei Yucheng had always been a godly boyfriend in her eyes. She had almost been tempted to betray him. Lin Yen scratched her head, looking conflicted. She had her reasons. The problem was that right from the start, her relationship with Pei Yucheng had been a misunderstanding. If she hadn't lost control of her consciousness and done uncontrollable things, she wouldn't have been in such a hurry to break up with Pei Yucheng. Damn. Lin Yan was startled when she realized what she was thinking. Had she broken up with Pei Yucheng because she had lost control of her consciousness? Lin Yan collected her thoughts and deliberated over her words before she said, "This is a little complicated. I have my reasons, but it's fine. I will explain everything to Mr. Pei. When the time comes, it's up to him to decide whether to break up or not." Pei Nanxiu chuckled softly and said confidently, "No matter what, my brother will never break up with you." Initially, he had been curious as to why Big Brother would care so much about a girl who had appeared out of nowhere. However, when he found out that Big Brother had changed because of this girl, he was certain of Lin Yan's importance to him. Lin Yan didn't know why Pei Nanxiu was so sure. Actually, she was puzzled. She hadn't known Pei Yucheng for long, she had even thought that Pei Yucheng was just fooling around with her. In the end, she realized that Pei Yucheng was more serious than she had imagined. She was the one who had been fooling around. She couldn't help but feel guilty at the thought of this. "Oh yeah, how is Mr. Pei?" asked Lin Yan hastily. "He is undergoing a thorough examination, so no one is allowed to disturb him. The examination will take a long time, so my brother asked me to arrange for a chauffeur to take you back to rest." "Are you sure he is fine?" "The results aren't out yet, but based on the readings, he is stable." "Don't worry." Lin Yan hesitated. "Pardon me for asking, but what illness does Mr. Pei have?" "This. I can't explain it clearly." Pei Nanxiu tried his best to explain in a simple manner. "You can think of it as a disease that can't be stimulated. If you are stimulated, your body will lose control and you will be in danger." Pei Nanxiu's words reminded Lin Yan of the kiss he had given her earlier. Was her influence on Pei Yucheng that great? Wouldn't it really become a Ganoderma elixir? Is that so? Instinctively, Lin Yan felt that things weren't that simple. If it had been as easy as Pei Nanxiu had made it sound, they wouldn't have looked as though the world was coming to an end when they had heard their watches ring. In any case, the matter was finally resolved. After she was certain that Pei Yucheng was fine, she instructed the chauffeur to take her to her grandfather's place. Chapter 236. When she reached the old mansion, Lin Yan went to a nearby mall to buy some things for her grandfather. She carried the bags into the mansion. Her grandfather, He Dingkuan, and her mother, He Muyun, were sitting in the living room. "Sister Yan, you're here." Lin Yan's second cousin, He Lifeng, strode forward and took the bags from her. "Why are you here?" Eldest cousin, He Mingkai, glanced at Lin Yan and glanced at He Muyun. He sneered coldly. "The competition is starting tomorrow morning. Some people don't know anything, yet they insisted on coming." "Brother Mingkai, don't say that." He Lifeng frowned at He Mingkai as he spoke softly. "Don't say that." He Mingkai glanced at He Lifeng and sneered coldly. "Then what should I say? Don't you know who caused this mess?" "Brother Mingkai, you can't blame Aunt and Sister Yan for this. No one wanted this to happen. Besides, the team isn't good enough. Otherwise, we wouldn't have ended up like this," He Lifeng muttered softly. Suddenly, Big Uncle He Xiong said coldly, "Xiaofan, what does a kid like you know? Your brother Mingkai is right. Plus, if it wasn't for the funding problems and the team's lack of investment, with your brother Mingkai's ability, he would have been a second-tier racer in the country, or even a first-tier racer." "Dad, don't talk to them. They don't know anything, especially this mother and son pair. They make me sick." He Mingkai looked disdainful. "All right." He Dingkuan's eyebrows were furrowed, and he looked displeased. Seeing that the old man was angry, no one dared to say anything else. "Grandfather, I have good news for you." The corners of He Lifeng's mouth curled up into a proud smile. What news? Asked He Xiong. The boss of Swift, Pei Yutong. He Mingkai grinned. I got to know the boss of Swift by chance. After a few rounds of communication, he finally agreed to watch our race tomorrow. As long as we perform well, we might be able to get Pei Yutong's investment. Pei Yutong. He Xiong paused. I don't think I've heard of him. He Lifeng replied, they're quite capable. Storm's racing equipment is considered top-notch, but their racers aren't good enough. Their ranking hasn't risen, but that's not important. If Storm's boss is willing to invest in us, it doesn't matter even if we lose the competition. I know the Storm motorcade. Old Master He Dingkuan glanced at He Mingkai and said, however, are you sure that the boss of Storm will be here tomorrow and that he intends to invest? Grandpa, don't worry. I have a good relationship with the boss of Storm. There won't be any problems. I can guarantee it. He Mingkai said confidently. Yeah, Mingkai. I didn't expect that you would be able to invite the boss of Storm over. You've worked hard this time. He Dingkuan nodded at He Mingkai. Mingkai, you did well. You've made us proud. He Xiong glanced at He Mingkai, looking gratified. Then, he glanced at Lin Yan and He Muyun and sneered coldly. Unlike some people who only know how to extort and harm their families. They don't contribute at all, yet they still act as though nothing has happened. Chapter 237. Lin Yan glanced at her eldest uncle and eldest cousin, He Mingkai. She didn't even have the desire to talk to them. Let's eat. Grandfather He Dingkuan spoke up. He Xiong glanced at He Lifeng and said, Xiaofan, you mentioned that you've settled the navigator issue. Is there a problem tomorrow? There shouldn't be a problem. He Lifeng's eyes trailed to Lin Yan. Lin Yan shot him a reassuring look. Xiaofan, what do you mean by there shouldn't be a problem? If there isn't a navigator, you can't compete. Even if you can compete, how are you going to compete? Isn't this a joke? He Xiong frowned. Yeah, I know. There shouldn't be a problem tomorrow. He Lifeng nodded. Who is your navigator? Did you hire him from outside? He Mingkai glanced at He Lifeng as he asked. All this while, He Lifeng hadn't been good with words and he hadn't performed well in competitions. Hence, almost no one had been willing to be his navigator. Not too long ago, He Lifeng's last navigator had left. I discussed this with Sister Yen. Sister Yen will be participating in the competition tomorrow. She will be my navigator. He Lifeng pondered for a moment before he spoke up. Everyone was taken aback by He Lifeng's words. Even He Muyun, who had been silent all this while, had a slight change in her expression. Lin Yan was going to be Xiaofeng's navigator? Xiaoyan, you want to be Xiaofeng's navigator? He Muyun glanced at Lin Yan in surprise. Lin Yan nodded and replied, Mom, I've already discussed this with Xiaofeng. Besides, I'm part of the family, so I want to contribute. Xiaoyan, are you confident? He Muyun asked hesitantly. Although a navigator wasn't a racer, they were more professional and required a strong memory and analytical ability. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to be a navigator. Mom, don't worry. I'll try my best. Lin Yan grinned. Before He Muyun could retort, He Xiong sprang to his feet and glared at Lin Yan. What kind of joke is this? You want to be a navigator? Are you out of your mind? Who do you think you are? I finally understand. What do they mean by being a part of the family? They want to do something for the family. I think they want to completely destroy the family and Grandpa's motorcade. He Mingkai sneered. Big uncle, brother Mingkai, since Sister Yen said she would be a navigator, she must be confident. Besides, without a navigator, I wouldn't be able to finish a race. He Lufeng glanced at He Xiong and He Mingkai with a sigh. Xiaofan, are you out of your mind? He Xiong glanced at He Lufeng. I heard that after she dropped out of high school, she went to another city to work. What does she know about racing? Does she really think that she's sitting in the passenger seat? Do you know what this competition means? He Xiong didn't give He Lufeng a chance to retort. Brother Mingkai spent a lot of effort to invite Storm's boss, Pei Yutong. He has contributed so much to this family. What does she want? She treats racing like a taxi. He Mingkai glanced at Lin Yan. Chapter 239. Lin Yan didn't respond to He Mingkai. Indeed, she didn't even have the desire to converse with a racer like He Mingkai. There was a generation gap between them. She was afraid that there was a gulf between them. Forget it, Mingkai. Since your grandfather has already spoken, just focus on your own race tomorrow. Even if you lose, it's not your problem. Just treat her as if she doesn't exist. Don't let her affect your performance, He Xiong said to He Mingkai. Dad, I understand. Don't worry, I will do my best tomorrow. He Mingkai nodded and grinned. Even if I lose, as long as Storm's boss, Pei Yutong, sees my ability, I will consider investing in him. Suddenly, Lin Yan's phone rang. Lin Yan whipped out her phone and read the caller ID. Third Young Master Pei Xiong. Lin Yan stood up and walked out of the living room to answer the call. Hello, big sister-in-law. Pei Yutong's voice rang out. What's wrong? Did something happen to your big brother? Lin Yan frowned. My big brother? Pei Yutong was taken aback. Nothing. My big brother is doing fine. The specialist is examining him. He is fine, what's the matter? Lin Yan asked curiously. Big sister-in-law, why are you so cold to me? You will hurt my young heart. Pei Yutong sighed heavily. Lin Yan was speechless. Shouldn't she only call when there was a problem? If she didn't get straight to the point, her phone bill wouldn't last. Her plan didn't include free minutes. It was expensive. Big sister-in-law, are you still there? Say something. Pei Yutong blurted out anxiously. I'm here. What's the matter? Lin Yan sounded helpless. Big sister-in-law, is the He family team your grandfather's team? Pei Yutong asked. Yeah, replied Lin Yan. That's good. I was afraid that I had made a mistake earlier. Pei Yutong quipped, the He family team is considered the weakest team. They don't have money, manpower, or anything else. What are you trying to say? Lin Yan was dumbfounded. Had he called just to complain about her grandfather's team? Big sister-in-law, I heard that the He family team is going to compete in the elimination round tomorrow. I'm sure you will be there. After all, if the He family team loses, they will have to disband. Today, a member of the He family team, He Mingkai, asked me to watch the race. I promised big sister-in-law that you would appear tomorrow. If you don't participate, what's the point? I definitely won't go. Lin Yan was speechless. So that was what had happened. She had been a little puzzled as to why Pei Yutong had taken a liking to the He family's team and gotten together with He Mingkai. I will participate in the competition tomorrow, Lin Yan replied after a moment of silence. Big sister-in-law, I got it. I will definitely arrive early tomorrow to cheer for you. Pfft. The two teams competing with the He family aren't even as good as my team. Big sister-in-law, you can crush them with just one toe. He Lufeng hadn't expected that He Mingkai would be so capable. Not only had he invited the boss of Storm, but he had also invited ZH1. Chapter 241. It was getting late, so Lin Yan and her mother stayed the night at the old mansion. Too many things had happened in the past few days, so Lin Yan's mind was in a whirl. She couldn't fall asleep no matter how hard she tried, so she put on a coat and left the house. There was a stretch of sea not far from the old mansion, and the beach was empty. There was no one around. Lin Yan felt calmer as she enjoyed the sea breeze. Too many things had happened ever since she had been banned from competing. Everything that she knew had changed beyond recognition. She didn't know if she would ever be able to return to the competition. Right now, she was most anxious about her brother. She had to find the laboratory as soon as possible and find her brother. She had to find the mastermind and kill him. As for Lin Shuya, actually, she had treated Lin Shuya so well because she had already lost her younger brother. Hence, she had given all her care and concern to her only sister. She had encountered so many difficulties over the years, including the kidnapping incident, but none of them had defeated her. However, she had almost fallen into the abyss because of Lin Shuya. Fortunately, she could start anew after severing all ties. At this thought, Pei Yucheng's gentle smile surfaced in Lin Yan's mind. She had almost forgotten that she had a thorny problem to solve. She had to think carefully about how to explain it to Pei Yucheng when the time came. Lin Yan lay on the soft beach as her thoughts drifted away. She started to feel sleepy. Plop. Gulp. Gulp. Suddenly, a strange sound entered his ears. Especially in the middle of the night when there was no one around, it simply caused his scalp to go numb. In an instant, Lin Yan's sleepiness disappeared as she surveyed her surroundings vigilantly. However, the surroundings were still empty. Not to mention people, not even a ghost could be seen. Gulp. 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 However, the strange sound didn't fade away. Instead, it became more frequent. F***CK. Lin Yan had goosebumps all over her body. What the hell was going on? It was too creepy. Under the moonlight, Lin Yan caught a glimpse of a few keys by the sea. Lin Yan didn't think too much about it. She hurriedly ran forward and stared at the keys. Had someone drowned? At this moment, the surface of the sea was still bubbling non-stop. Lin Yan's expression changed instantly. She didn't have time to think. She hurriedly approached the shore and reached into the sea. A few seconds later, Lin Yan's arm rose forcefully. Lin Yan grabbed a handsome young man by his hair and pulled him out of the sea. The young man stared intently at Lin Yan as she lifted him into the air. "Are you all right?" asked Lin Yan with a frown. "Get lost," the man said. Lin Yan was speechless. "I'm sorry. I thought you were drowning." Lin Yan let go of him awkwardly. The man's body sank into the sea again. The man kept slapping the surface of the water with his hands. I accidentally rolled down just now." Lin Yan was speechless. Lin Yan was shocked when she heard the man's words. She grabbed the man's hair and dragged him to the shore. "Are you all right?" Lin Yan asked as the man panted heavily. Yes. Let me call the ambulance." Lin Yan whipped out her phone. "Of course not," the man said. Lin Yan was speechless. Lin Yan stared at the drenched man with an odd expression on her face. She hadn't seen anyone since she had arrived at the beach. When had this man rolled into the sea? A second later, Lin Yen tossed the scar-faced man into the sea. Chapter 248. At that moment, Lin Yen was walking on an unknown path. Soon, the girl's eyes turned from indifference to confusion before they regained clarity. Lin Yen shuddered and instinctively scanned her surroundings. Lin Yen was dumbfounded. Where was the beach? And, the young men and women who had tried to capture her were nowhere to be seen. Lin Yen frowned. Was her illness acting up again? All she could remember was that she had been entangled by something similar to an electric net. Then, all sorts of messy images appeared in her mind. She had no recollection of what had happened after that. The beach wasn't too far away. Lin Yen scanned her surroundings. She was on a small path that was deserted, especially at night. Soon, Lin Yen felt dizzy. She couldn't care less about her image and found a place to sit down. She didn't know why, but her body felt limp, as though all her energy had been sucked out of her. Moreover, her head was throbbing. Lin Yen felt as though she was drunk. Besides the throbbing pain in her head, she also felt dizzy. She couldn't remember what had happened earlier. At the beach, the young men and women had used all their strength to climb out of the water. Their bodies were drenched, and their faces were pale. Their bodies were trembling uncontrollably, especially the leader, who had regained consciousness. His eyes were filled with fear. Everything that the person with a grade A constitution had shown was completely beyond their understanding. How could a mere Class A constitution be so terrifying? Captain, inform the higher-ups. That woman is too terrifying. We can't handle her. One of the young women told the leader. She didn't kill us. This is unbelievable. I thought that I would die today. The man with the scar shuddered at the thought of what had happened. How could there be such a terrifying woman? Isn't she a Class A constitution? The leader's face was dark and gloomy as he gritted his teeth. Inform the higher-ups. The leader bellowed coldly. Captain, let's go. If that woman comes back, we'll be in danger. I know a small path. Let's take a detour. Damn it. We're so unlucky to have met a monster. The few of them carried the man and staggered towards the small path. After walking for a short while, the scar-faced man saw a person sitting in the middle of the road. The person's head was tilted as if he was thinking about something. Get lost. The scar-faced man was already in a bad mood. Seeing someone sitting in the middle of the road blocking his way, he casually scolded. Lin Yen, who was still trying to figure out what had happened, was pulled back to reality by the man with the scar. Instinctively, she turned around and stared at him. The moment Lin Yen turned her head, the scar-faced man saw her face clearly under the moonlight. Hiss! In almost an instant, the scarred man gasped and retreated a few steps in the opposite direction until he staggered and fell to the ground. Chapter 249. You. It's you. The scar-faced man pointed at Lin Yen in horror as he struggled to crawl away. He wished that his parents had given him a few more legs to crawl away. You're haunting me. Lin Yan's eyes glinted coldly. She didn't give the man a chance to speak. She dashed forward and raised her leg to kick the man's face. The man was sent flying by Lin Yan's kick. He spun like a spinning top and rolled to the man's feet. He didn't even have time to scream in pain before he yelled at the man and the young men and women, "Run! That woman is blocking our way. She wants to kill us." Ah! As the scarred man's voice fell, everyone's expression changed, including the leader. Everyone followed the direction of the scar-faced man's gaze and looked forward. "Don't come over. Don't come over." The man stared at Lin Yan, who was fuming with anger. Lin Yan was speechless. What was going on? She wasn't a match for so many people. Shouldn't she be the one running away? Logically speaking, shouldn't these people be searching for her and trying to capture her? However, Lin Yan couldn't understand why they looked at her as though she was a ghost. Anger, shame, fear, and panic, their expressions were as though a bottle of condiments had been knocked over. Lin Yan's expression was strange as she tried to walk forward. When Lin Yan took a step forward, the young men and women retreated a few steps. "What are you doing? What do you want?" One of the young women screamed at Lin Yan. "What do you want?" Lin Yan glared at them coldly. She didn't know them at all, but they had attacked her first. They had even used the electric fence to electrocute her and almost electrocuted her. Although she couldn't remember what had happened after that, it was possible that she had lost control of herself and escaped from the electric net. She hadn't expected that these people would chase after her. Was she that valuable? Everyone felt as though they had swallowed a fly when they heard Lin Yan's words. On the beach, beat the crap out of every single one of them, and almost killed them. Not only that, he even blocked their way in this godforsaken place. He didn't want to give them a way out, and now this pervert was asking them what they wanted. What do they want? Do they want their parents to give them a few more legs so that they can run faster? Don't come any closer. If you come any closer, we won't be polite anymore. The man with the scar broke out in cold sweat as he bellowed at Lin Yan. "You're welcome." Lin Yan grinned at Scarface's words. Had they ever been polite? However, Lin Yan was puzzled by their behavior. Earlier on, they had been so fierce and threatening to kill her. Now, they were behaving as though they had seen the King of Hell. Could it be that I really didn't control myself earlier and completely lost control? It's a misunderstanding. Stand there and don't move. Yes, yes, stay this distance away from us. Let me explain to you. This is all a misunderstanding. The leader yelled at the expressionless Lin Yan. Oh. Lin Yan eyed the man and sneered coldly. Tell me, what misunderstanding is there? Chapter 250. Although Lin Yan didn't know what had happened, she could tell from their attitude that they were afraid of her. Lin Yan was puzzled as well. Every time she lost control, she would wake up with some relevant memories. However, this time, there were no memories at all. Logically speaking, she shouldn't have lost control. However, if they weren't completely under her control, why would these people, especially their leader, be so fearful of her? Actually, we found the wrong person. We didn't look for you. We apologize to you. Is that okay? The leader glared at Lin Yan and gritted his teeth. However, he was all smiles. Misunderstanding? Lin Yan frowned. Did he think that she was a fool? Although she couldn't remember what had happened after that, she hadn't forgotten what had happened. They had used a tracker to detect her level and wanted to kidnap her for money. However, given their current state, she might be able to get some answers. The man was about to say something when Lin Yan interrupted him impatiently. Cut the crap. I'm asking you where my brother is. Huh? Everyone was taken aback by Lin Yan's question. Where was her brother? Who was her brother? Who knew this freak's brother? They didn't even know who she was, let alone her brother. Madam, we really don't know your brother. We don't even know who you are. The leader stared at Lin Yan as he spoke hastily. They had already experienced how terrifying this woman was. All they wanted now was to stay alive. You don't know me? Lin Yan glanced at them and sneered coldly. Do you really think I'm a fool? No, no, no. You've misunderstood. If any of us knew or captured your brother, we would be struck by lightning. The scar-faced man replied hastily. You captured my brother? Lin Yan's expression changed instantly. The scar-faced man was speechless, the leader was speechless. Did this perverted woman choose to listen to others? Who had captured her brother? Who are you? Why did you attack me? Lin Yan glared at them. The scar-faced man was just about to speak when his expression changed slightly. He seemed to realize something and quickly shut his mouth, not saying another word. Run! The leader glared at Lin Yan and gritted his teeth. Then, he bellowed at everyone. In an instant, several young men and women moved almost at the same time and fled towards the back. Lin Yan instinctively wanted to chase after him. However, just as he opened his legs, he felt that something was wrong. If he really chased after them, he wouldn't be able to defeat them with so many people and an electric fence. Moreover, she didn't even know who those people were. Chasing after them rashly was definitely not a wise move. Even a cornered dog would jump over a wall, let alone a human. Lin Yan could only watch helplessly as the group of people fled. After some rest, she felt more awake. She wanted to take out her phone to check the time, but there was nothing else in her pocket. Chapter 252. Lin Yan sat on the couch and munched on an apple. She stared blankly at Xiaofan, who was visibly excited. Why hadn't she heard about this? According to Xiaofan, Lang Mang would be the main character of the movie. The racetrack's Grim Reaper would be used as a publicity stunt. The racetrack's Grim Reaper had appeared during the competition to compete with her disciple, Lang Mang. Even so, shouldn't the producers have informed the racetrack's Grim Reaper herself? She had been banned from competing. Even if the producers wanted to look for her, they wouldn't be able to find her. Lin Yan reckoned that Lang Mang must have made the decision on his own. He must have agreed to let the producers use him and his master, the racetrack's Grim Reaper. However, what was the point of using the name of feelings? She didn't seem to be dead yet, right? Lin Yan's mind conjured up a scene in an instant. Lang Mang had put in a lot of effort to clinch the championship on the track. As the sun was setting, Lang Mang hugged his helmet and looked dejected. He was thinking about his master, the racetrack's Grim Reaper. The setting sun cast a golden glow on the track as Lang Mang walked towards his car. At that moment, the racetrack's Grim Reaper, Yave, appeared. Lang Mang's eyes brimmed with tears when he saw his master. In the end, the two of them had competed on the track. Lin Yan was speechless. Why did she feel like she was dead? What was going on? She couldn't act like this. Besides, who could play the role of the racetrack's Grim Reaper? She couldn't ruin her image. As Lin Yan was lost in her thoughts, Xiaofan tugged at her sleeve. Sister Yan, look. Lin Yan glanced over at the television. The first level of the international competition was playing on the screen. A silver car sped across the track and reached the finish line. A second later, the crowd erupted. Yave, all the audience stood up at the same time and looked at the silver defending king. At that moment, Lin Yan's eyes flickered with an inexplicable emotion. It was her personal car, Silver Starry Sky. The door opened and the racetrack's Grim Reaper, who was dressed in a silver uniform, stepped out of the car and waved her hands in greeting. She's so cool. Oh my god. She's so cool. Suddenly, Xiaofan leaped up from the sofa, his eyes filled with excitement. Sister Yan, did you see that? That's Lang Mang's master. Yeva isn't just Lang Mang. Death Butcher is also her disciple. Hilifeng exclaimed excitedly. Lin Yen replied, all right, all right. Stop jumping around. The sofa is going to fall apart. Sister Yen, if I can race against the racetrack's Grim Reaper. No, if I can race against any of Yeva's disciples, I will die without any regrets, Hilifeng replied. All the best. One day, your wish will come true. Lin Yen grinned. Hilifeng shook his head. It's too difficult. People like us are nothing in their eyes. Lin Yen stood up and turned to Hilifeng. Xiaoyan, brush your teeth and wash your face before you eat. He Muyun removed her apron and instructed Lin Yen. Lin Yen nodded and headed to the dining table after washing up. Before long, He Dingkuan, He Xiong, and He Mingkai walked out of their rooms. He Mingkai glanced at Lin Yen. If you drag Mingkai down today, this family won't tolerate you anymore. Before Lin Yen could respond, He Xiong stepped forward and said coldly, ZH1 and Storm's boss, Pei Yutong, are here for Mingkai. Don't embarrass him. God, won everyone. Pei Yutong, the review event might end at the end of the month, so everyone should seize the opportunity to participate. I would like to organize a few more long-term events, such as the active ranking or continuous voting. Do you guys have any better suggestions?